Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to the College Dunia series Thoughtful Leaders, where we connect with leaders from different colleges and universities to understand their views on the education industry and the future plans for their respective institutions. This is an initiative to bridge the gap between top management and the aspiring students. This is to help them in making an informed career choice. The viewers, today we have with us Dr. Ashwini Kumar Sharma, the Pro Chancellor of Vijay Bhumi University. He has an experience spanning over 35 years and working in different government organizations such as the Indian Space and Research Organization, Baba Atomic Research Center, Rajasthan State Industrial Development and Investment Corporation Limited, and in his last association, he was working as the Director General of National Institute of Electronics and Information Technology. He has been working with Vijay Bhumi University for the last 3 years. Welcome to the platform, sir.
Namaste.
To start off this interaction, sir, I would like to ask you, working as a Director General with NIE-LIT, Ministry of Electronics and IT, and engaging in the skills and making it grow from a 112 CR to 367 CR in the last 5 years. What do you think about the skill set that one should have in order to enhance their employability?
See, you have raised a very important issue for everyone, especially when the Government of India and the state governments are also working on the employability, enhancing the employability. I think what is happening is, besides the basic knowledge of the subject, one is required to have some basic concepts which are basically very important, especially in terms of Industrial Revolution 4.0. And if you see what is happening when we go to college, when we come out from the college, we learn subject only. But few of the things are very important once we enter into the industry, once we go into the real field. For example, very simple skill which is very much required is the soft skills. When I am saying the soft skills, basically the communication, then the body language, then the presentation style. I mean, these are very much important, because sometimes you are going to face an interview, and if the body language is not proper, that reflects very bad to the person who is going for the, who's taking the interview. Now, besides this, because of Industrial Revolution 4.0 and based on the World Economic Forum report, where now, because we know we have got a population more than 50% which is youth. I mean, they are in the young age group. So we can become a human resource development capital. But to make that, basically, we have to develop a skill within the youth, in the college, in the university, in the education system, which has been even highlighted now in the new education policy 2020. And this says basically they must be in a position to solve complex problems, which means basically ill-defined problems need to be tackled. Like, for example, COVID. It was never expected. Then how to do that? Then critical thinking, where basically you have to skillfully conceptualize, analyze, and basically go for a thinking process. Then creativity, that is very important. Then if you go the people management, how you manage your team, how do you manage stakeholders, then the emotional intelligence, that is very important. And then what is happening is we need to have a decision-making power, which is very much lagging. In the government system, 90% of the government officers employed, generally they keep saying submitted for approval or directions please. If you have to seek a direction, then for what you are required? That can be done by a computer, robotics also. And then most important, which is now happening, is the service orientation and the negotiation power. So I think these are the skill sets which are required to enhance the employability of a youth.
Thank you for the answers. And taking a cue from your question, what do you see the impact that COVID is going to bring upon the education industry and the education system altogether? How will this new normal be incorporated in the education system, sir?
See, one thing is there that COVID pandemic is also like what we had a global economy and financial meltdown in 2008. But it is totally different from that type of pandemic, because one of the reason is that we don't know when it will end. Nobody is aware. We all have been talking about injections and everything, but none of us is very sure when we will get safety from them. We will be able to recover from them. Now, this has the pandemic situation because of COVID-19 has brought very basic change in the education system, and that is, it is not a learning to people rather than people to learning. That's the mindset which has changed. And now, if you see what we have to do, we have to basically work out a system where basically we are planning to use the technology for the education system, which means we are trying to build in online education system. Like this, we have to work out where basically we are able to give the education to everyone through a use of technology. Now, it is also a fact that definitely when we are talking about online education system, there are a lot of issues which we have to face, because frankly speaking, we have got a limitations on internet connectivity, the smartphones, and all these things. So we have to see how education system will adapt the technology. We have to see that we are able to make the teachers adaptable to use of technology. Then the course curriculum has to be made according to use of technology. So I think COVID has brought a change in the whole education system. And if we see the NEP 2020, there also there is impact, there is emphasis on use of technology for the education. But I personally feel that this will bring changes in design of course curriculum, delivery of best content from best teachers, and definitely the concept of good infrastructure, building infrastructure, will have a less impact on students' admission. More will be on the quality of faculty and use of technology.
Rightly said, sir. Rightly said. Taking a cue from your remarks, sir, do you think that a lot of advertising and marketing expenditure has any impact on admissions?
See, I will say that it has an impact, but it is not one of the criteria, because nowadays what has happened is the parents, the students, and all stakeholders, they are very smart. They know the use of technology. Whatever you say about the university or the college, they surf on the internet. They will find out the quality of the teacher, the background of the teacher, the infrastructure, the location where you are located. You may say I am near heaven, but they will find out where are you located. You may say we have got the best faculty. They will find out what type of faculty you have got, whether they are in the R&D, they have done something in the education system or not at all. So I think ad has an impact, but not the major impact. Now what is more important is the quality, the way they are able to get the placement, the way they are able to get the bandwidth of the pay scales which the student gets once they are coming out of the college or the university.
Thank you, sir. What is your experience and how has your experience been in getting Vijay Bhumi established as a university, as a renowned university in the last 18 months? What has your experience been like?
See, I will say one thing very clearly over here, that definitely it has been a very good experience, very wonderful experience. I could get very good support from the government of Maharashtra in terms of getting it implemented within 18 months. To establish a university within 18 months is we feel proud. But the major credit for that goes to basically the promoters, because the promoters are from engineering background, is from its planning. So once you have a promoter, he understands the process. Secondly, they have already been running IFM in Bangalore, which is almost for more than 25 years have been doing wonders over there. It has been accredited by CSB also. So I think their background and experience in running the institute in Bangalore, and then basically support from the government and vision of the promoters, that could make it happen within 18 months.
Going forward, sir, many IIMs and many of the management institutions do not have a AA CSB accreditation, and they're still waiting for this. And what do you think, does the accreditation has an impact in terms of the quality of education, in terms of the admissions, and in terms of the actual knowledge being imparted at the institution?
See, any accreditation, whether it is AA CSB, it is ISO, or it is NAAC, whatever it is, see, it has an impact in terms of making us to be prepared for the quality that is there. But accreditation is not the only criteria for attracting students or for making youth employable, making them to join the college, join the university, because what is happening is during the accreditation process, you make a process and you follow that. That's give a quality to you. You document out everything. But besides this, what is more important is the background, learning, teaching process, solution for field problems, hands-on placement, fees structure, technology, infrastructure, quality. So all are these different parameters which have an impact on the admission process, or basically giving an image to the student that yes, it is a good quality institute.
Right, sir. Sir, coming to the talk of the town, which is the new education policy, Government of India has allowed foreign universities to have their presence in the country. How do you foresee this, and what impact will it bring on the education system on a whole?
See, till now foreign universities were not allowed to operate in the country. And I remember I met Swaraj Pal Saab long back in Delhi, and he was very keen to set up a university, but because of this constraint, he was not able to move forward. Now, what is happening is, if you see newspaper and the news coming up, especially during this COVID, 30% universities abroad are getting closed. And out of that, if they are getting closed because they are 50% inflow was the foreign student, that is the student from India, China, Pakistan, Bangladesh, like that. So definitely, if the universities are allowed to operate in India, I am sure they will be very keen to come to India. Now they may come through a tie-up, they may come through their own process of setting up a new university, or maybe some collaboration. But definitely it is going to impact our education system, I mean the business of the education system, because other many universities which are not basically able to deliver the quality the way foreign universities are giving, or the brand they have got, they will lose the business. That is going to happen.
Right, sir. And how aligned are you, and how aligned is Vijay Bhumi University with the new education policy, sir?
Sir, one thing is very clear that whatever is there in the NEP 2020, I think myself, our promoter Sanjay Parode, and our other faculty members, we have been discussing on that. And that's the reason we have come out with a system where basically we are saying we are the first liberal professional university, because we have adopted a system of multiple entry, multiple exit, which means you can enter, you can take certificate course, you can take a diploma course, you can take a degree course, you can join from science to arts, you can move around this thing. Because our concept is the student should join the university, discover the subject where he has got a liking. And that's the reason we are very much aligned. We feel, for example, let's say we have got a T structure, where we'll give knowledge of everything, but we'll try to make him deeper and deeper into one subject or one particular discipline. Now, what we are trying to do is, we are trying to go for a PG program, like for example, BSc Data Science, MSc Data Science. So new concepts we are bringing, and then we are saying we'll have a credit transfer and academic bank of credits, that we are allowing that.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. And so to the final question that has been running in my head, that what do you say is the strength and what do you say is the strategy of Vijay Bhumi in expanding its alumni network and bringing and attracting more students to be a part of this liberal university, sir?
See, we have a very good track record in terms of IFIM in Bangalore. Looking to that, basically we have tried to do the same experiment over here, and we have been conducting a lot of webinars for last 4 months, where we have been basically trying to answer to various queries of the student, especially the subject, the discipline, what is the scene likely to happen, what is expected by an employer, like that. And definitely we have tried that within the university, if somebody is joining, he will be eligible to have a dual degree, because we have got multiple foreign tie-ups. So we are trying that he gets a degree over here, and the credits are also accorded, given credit over there, and finally they get, or he or she get a dual degree. Then basically, you know that we are very near to Mumbai, the industrial city of the country, the economic capital of the country. So we are very close to that, and that is that we are very near to nature. That is because we are basically at the bottom of the hill, mountain over there. So I think we are trying to ensure that we are able to give the best atmosphere. We are able to give the best faculty. We are able to basically give them a freedom to discover their own subject and basically choose one of the discipline where they feel they can do masters or they can deliver something to the society.
It was a pleasant conversation, and I think your views are going to resonate in the minds of the aspiring students for the university. Thank you for taking out the time, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.